take care of yourself, you hear?
Look, why don't you get some things packed and you and Dylan come stay with me on the base? You will see that there is nothing to be scared of. I play Captain Stephen Hiller, and Captain Stephen Hiller is the quintessential all-American superhero kind of regular funny guy person. This character is like the role of a lifetime because you get to do everything. You know, I get to be funny, I get to be sensitive, I get to be daring. You know, I get to do all kinds of different things and cover the spectrum with this character. You know, it's a lot like life. You get to do all kinds of different things, but rarely is a role, you know, as well written as this one to be able to accomplish all those things.
That's what I call a close encounter.
We'll have more with funny guy person Will Smith as we celebrate Independence Day here on VH1. Will did not contribute to the music in the movie. He told us, though, that he thought the score was an integral part of the film.
Music, God, I wish I remembered who said this. It would be such a great quote. But every string of an instrument and every beat of a drum and every key on a piano has a corresponding vibration in the human soul. So with the way that the music comes together makes you feel things. You know, the music is a really huge part of a film like this, just to accentuate the emotions of the moment. And it works really well.
When yeah, we had to do kind of blue screen acting or acting however they did it with computer stuff or with stuff that wasn't there. One scene was where I and everybody else, but I see the spaceship, which you see in the movie, which is the size of the cities. There's the size of Los Angeles, the size of New York and Washington, and people look up and it covers the entire city. And so there's scenes I have to look up and it's kind of not there and they kind of put it in later. I had to do that. And then finally with Will at the end, that whole sequence where we're in this alien spaceship that we've gotten to fly again and we're going to infiltrate the mothership. And that was all with stuff they just say, okay, now you're, you know, seeing this and that. And we just had to imagine it because we go to outer space and we go into this mothership that's like nothing you've ever seen, and then we're seeing thousands of aliens parading, getting ready to attack, and we were seeing a lot of things that we weren't there. So they would just, you know, talk us through, and we had to see the things at the same time too. So we had to know exactly when we were seeing what and what we were seeing and how we were reacting to them. You know, it was tricky, but fun. One of the first scenes I ever shot in the movie, while I was making another movie, I had to fly to New York to shoot this scene where I'm riding my bicycle through streets, through neighborhood streets in Manhattan, where people have just seen this spaceship covering all of New York, and they're going crazy. And I just flew in. They put me on this bicycle. I didn't know anything, and they have like hundreds of extras, all and the blocks. They have blocks of hundreds of extras in buildings, up in buildings. And they say, action. I started to ride this bicycle out, and people started to go crazy, throw mattresses out of windows. They're throwing all their belongings out of windows. And I kind of did that. It was amazing. It was real chaos. Oh, it was chaos. I mean, extras, who's controlling hundreds of extras? They don't know. Hey, we're in a movie, come over. Yeah, we get to throw stuff out. Maybe we can hit Jeff Goldblum or something. I don't know. So they're throwing stuff out. They're having a good time, And I'm acting.
By Jeff Goldblum.
It's like in chess. First, you strategically position your pieces. Then when the timing's right, you strike. See? They're positioning themselves all over the world, using this one signal to synchronize their efforts. In approximately 6 hours, the signal's going to disappear and the countdown's going to be over. And then what? Checkmate.
It's in the movie where it's such a patriotic people in America. It's an American effort, that and it's an international effort. And the speech that Bill Pullman has, where he says Independence Day will no longer be an American holiday. It's when the human race will have declared its independence from outside threats to its survival. That's a very stirring and moving idea, and so maybe, I guess that was part of it from the start, and it's such a great thing that the whole thing happens Independence Day weekend, and these explosive fireworks. I'm getting chills.
Now what do we do? Address the nation. There's gonna be a lot of frightened people out there. Yeah? I'm one of them.
I'm getting chills
We
too.
can move on. We're looking at the worldwide destruction of every major city in the next 36 hours.
We're being exterminated.
Normally, you don't want to look at yourself, but there were some gestures and things that I thought, man, I was really had the sense of trying to build myself into finding the words that would be needed to get these guys, these rather young and nervous guys, to get out there and deliver a last punch that's possible for us to possibly have a chance to survive. And it was that sense of where do you dig down to come up with this stuff? It's a classic scene, kind of thing. I guess, St. Crispin's speech, kind of like a Shakespearean kind of moment in the pre-dawn light, and how you rouse the troops to go out there and fight. But this felt like, like really the circumstances were so dire, and it took so much to get them out there.
Should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night, we will not vanish without a fight, we're going to live on, we're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
And we've upgraded to DEFCON 3.
That's not what the president
We're
said.
2 days away from the 4th of July. We have over 50% of the armed forces out on weekend leave, not to mention the commanders and troops that are in town for the 4th of July parade.
Go ahead.
Our intelligence tells us the object has settled into a stationary orbit.
Well, that's good news.
Not really, sir. Part of it is broken off into nearly 3 dozen other pieces. Smaller than the whole, sir. Yet over 15 miles in width themselves.
Where are they heading?
They should be entering our atmosphere within the next 25 minutes.
I think I even have, and they even had a name for it, the hymn or the anthem to the common man, I think he called it. And that's, you know, every time you see the president, you hear this kind of little lift. Nothing like a snare drum. You know, the marching and walking and hearing that, yeah, in the uniforms. I think that there's that kind of way that, for me, some of those patriotic Star Wars music kind of got into a lot of like bells and timpanis and all that started to kind of dilute it. I think he's kind of gotten back to something even more primal in this one, you know, that it felt like he was, even though it was music that was clearly, you know, motivational, and you realize that's been the inspiration for a lot of music in terms of history, you know, that all these instruments like the bagpipe and others were really primarily designed to bring with you into battles to get everybody going, go get them, you know, the trumpet, all that stuff in its real, you know, primal thing isn't, you know, guys in black suits and white ties and bow ties sitting in, you know, a quiet auditorium seeking a perfect pitch. You know, they were really things meant to be screamed out loud at their loudest.
I don't have time for this.
2 minutes,
Connie,
Tom.
Mr. President, Julius Levinson. David is my son.
I told you you wouldn't listen.
No,
Let's
you have
go.
to tell him now.
Are you ready?
Tell
Just
him.
one
David,
second.
you have to
Dave,
tell
Connie.
David, tell him.
I know why we have satellite disruption.
All right, go ahead.
In some ways, it's, you know, the gravity of the situation. In a way, the president is like the guy who shoulders the you know, the kind of responsibility of it all, and the other characters are involved with other aspects of the story. You know, the you know, fight back kind of constant testosterone, or the kind of how are we going to figure this out? We gotta, you know, we could do this with this or this with that, you know. And this is the guy who feels the weight of what's happening and what has to happen.
2 more have been spotted over the Atlantic. One's moving toward New York. The other's headed this direction.
How much time do we have?
Less than 10 minutes.
Alex, organize a military escort to
Mr. President, I strongly recommend we move you to a secure location immediately.
Connie, can we expect the same kind of panic we saw in Russia?
More than likely.
Mr. President, we can discuss this on the way.
I'm not leaving.
We have to maintain a working government.
I want you
in
to
a
get
time
the
of
vice
crisis.
president, the whole cabinet, and joint chiefs and take them to a secured location. I'm staying. I don't want to add to a public hysteria that's going to cost lives. Connie,
Yes, sir.
we'll initiate the emergency broadcast system. We'll advise people not to panic. The best idea right now is to stay in their homes.
It features really, really illegal aliens. And like a lot of summer films, it's based on a simple idea. If you're blowing up a lot of stuff, who needs a script?
We have come to visit you in peace.
Remember when sci-fi movies appealed to the brain as well as the eyeball? The Day the Earth Stood Still with its plea for world peace? 2001 with its provocative ideas about the next stage of mankind's evolution. As for Independence Day, well, let's just say the first thing these aliens must have wiped out was the writer's office. First, who figures out what these bad guys are up to? The president? The military? The CIA? No, it's the cable guy. The fellow who works for the company that can't remember they were supposed to show up at your house Tuesday morning is the only one in the world who can figure out what's going on.
Checkmate.
Now, once the aliens arrive, every street in New York is jammed with crazed motorists, piled high with cars. So how come our computer geek hero and his dad get to wind up in the Oval Office?
Tell him.
They drive all the way from New York. How do they avoid all of those crashed up cars? Hey, it's a summer movie.
We're looking at the worldwide destruction